I'll shed some light on you, although I didn't really mention anything about it. Was one of the things that blew my mind when we got down there. Our mission was not to help anybody at all. We watched FEMA take people's babies. They thought that their babies would be given back to them within like 48 hours. So they're going to take them, give them medical treatment because the people have been waiting in the water forever. And so what they did was the parents were sent to Texas and the babies down to Baton Rouge, and they were all microchipped.
Wow. So the babies that were taken by FEMA from their parents in Katrina, they were microchipped.
Yep.
My God, have mercy, Lord. That's serious stuff. Wow.
I was going to tell you if the parents were reluctant to hand it over, they got arrested right there.
Right there.
Yeah, against their rights, against anything that you would think was the United States standard of, okay, well, you can hold the baby, can I check it out while it's in your arms? No, you have to give the baby over, because if you didn't, the federal government would arrest you right on the spot, take you to jail. And the thing about it is, since the Patriot Act is implemented, they can keep you as long as they want.
Let's do this again in the future.
When you read Revelation, the 13th chapter, about the mark of the beast, which is the microchip, that particular mark also has a number. Like the scriptures say, it's a number of a man, which we're going to read that number, and the number of the man is 666. That's the devil's number, and that's the devil. That's this number of this microchip. All right. Now the book of Revelation 13:18 reads as such. Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is a number of a man, and his number is 666. And when you look that up in the Greek, which a lot of people out there don't like to do, the 666 or 666 is chi psi stigma. All right, and we're going to focus on this word stigma because it's relevant to this implantable microchip. Because when you look at the microchip, which has a R.F.I.D technology, what they do is they want to insert it into every so-called American and eventually the world, because they want to be able to track everybody and make an everlasting slave of the population of the world. All right. So now, before I go into the word stigma, I want to go to the book of Galatians, chapter 6. And verse 17, and this is the Apostle Paul speaking, and this is what was written down 2,000 years ago. This is what he said. He said, "From henceforth let no man trouble me, for I bear in my body the marks of the Lord Yahushua." Now we're going to go into this word here, marks, to find out what the Greek word is and what it means. Now the Greek word for marks is stigma. Now the word stigma from the Greek Strong's Concordance 4742 is a mark pricked in or branded upon the body. So that stigma is something that you prick into the body. Alright? It says, to ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master or commander branded or pricked, cut into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belong to. And that's basically what the R.F.I.D chip is all about, or the microchip. It's all about branding people so that they can know who their owners are, which the owners would be known as the international bankers, known also as the so-called elites. These so-called bankers that rule the whole world financially. And that's who are the hidden masters, or who are the slave owners to whom you belong to if you get that microchip implanted into you. It says, and there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the tokens of their gods. Now keep in mind that Paul said that he bears about in his bodies the marks of Yahushua. Now, what type of marks were those that Paul bore on his body? What type of mark was that? Well, let's find out. Let's go to the book of John, the 20th chapter. You know, were those marks that he was talking about, was that something symbolic? It was symbolic dealing with him, but there were actual marks that were imprinted or put into the Lord's body. This is the book of St. John chapter 20 verse 24. It says, but Thomas, one of the 12, called Didymus, was not with them when Yahushua came. So when the Lord rose back from the dead, Thomas wasn't around them. So he didn't see or he didn't witness the Lord's resurrection. And this is what he said. The other disciples therefore said unto him, we have seen the Lord. But he said unto them, except I shall see in his hands the print of the nails, and put my fingers into the print of the nails, and thrust my hand in his side, I will not believe. Now that word print there is from the Greek word typos, which means the mark of a stroke or blow. So it was talking about the actual hand, the actual nails, which some scholars say were railroad spikes that were put into the Lord's hands. And the mark that he had on his side was when they pierced him. You know, so those marks are actual marks, which Paul said he bore in his body. Which, when you go into the into the Greek of that particular word in that scripture in the book of Galatians 6 and 17, the word there is stigma, which I'll read it again. It says a mark pricked in or branded upon the body. Now, when you go back into the book of Revelation 13 and 18, it said that the number of the beast was, or the number of a man was 666. Now, that last 6 is the Greek word for stigma, which is something that's implanted into you. Now, when you take that actual chip has numbers that are associated with it. So each chip is unique in the way that each one has a separate number from another. So it's easy to identify one chip from another. It has a numbering system, which the numbering system breaks down to what's today called the UPC code, or the Universal Product Code. And that Universal Product Code was invented in 1973 by a man by the name of Joseph Laurer. And he's the one who worked for IBM. I believe he worked for IBM, and he came up with this system on how to keep track of all these merchandise. But eventually that device that called the UPC, which is also inside of the microchip, is used to track people. And if you get stupid, they can shut your device down where you won't be able to sell, or you won't be able to buy. You know? So now I want to just go real quick to this last precept in the book of Exodus 21 and 5, because that's the end all be all that these international bankers want. They want to imprint people with this microchip to make them a permanent slave. And that's basically what the whole deal is all about. You know, because they have all the money in the world. They have all the power in the world. They have everything that any man could ever wish to have, and more. Like the scriptures say, they have more than their heart could wish. So what else do you want once you have the wealth and the power of the whole planet? You want power over people. You want servants. You want slaves. And what's going to bring about this slave or this total enslavement is this microchip. You know, that's why it's so detrimental for you Israelites out there to find out what this mark of the beast is, so that you can know when it comes to avoid it and not take it. So this is Exodus 21 and verse 2. It says, if thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. Verse 5. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his master shall bring him unto the gate, unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. And that awl was like a device. It looked like an ice pick almost. And he would take him to the door and run it through his ear, and that symbolized that he was a servant forever. And that's why they want to put this chip into people, so that they can be everlasting slaves, and that they can be controlled the same way you control cattle, the same way you control horses. It's basically a branding of the owners of you, the so-called American public, which eventually is going to be abroad throughout the whole world. So that's the mark of the beast that is spoken of in the book of Revelation. And that mark of the beast carries a number, which the number is 6 cores, 600, 6 score and 6. And the UPC code, which we spoke of earlier, has lines through it to distinguish each individual number. And the first, middle, and last lines are double lines, which are 666. And that's the number of this man, which is the number of the mark of the beast.
The ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union, right? And they want to create a new currency called the Amero, right? And the whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an R.F.I.D chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is given me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
And that chip's connected to a database that has your purchasing records, what you do, what
everything,
you sell.
Everything is in there, you know? And so they want a one world government controlled by them, everybody being chipped, all your money in those chips, and they control the chips, and they control people, and you become a slave, you become a serf to these people. That's their goal, that's their intention.